Hey there, it's YoBo. Day 251 of life according to YoBo. A life with no mess, no stress, no BS. Just when I thought we were through with the life and death of Mattie, Canton, Bowie, I get a phone call from my sister who had listened to days 248 and 249. And was it day 250 as well, where I talked about her driving us nuts in my daddy's house because she had unresolved issues, unresolved anger. She was there with us 4 years, and whoo, Jesus, honey, I can't die and go to hell, because I done already been in hell. I was in hell for 4 years, living in that house with somebody who did not want to be there. Paul's the Clark sisters. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Visit me at YoBoProductions.com. Well, she called today after she listened to the video. To my surprise, she said, I concur with everything you said. You know what? It takes a big person to be able to say, you told the truth about me. Just a second. Let me put a pillow behind my back. I'm still recuperating from this shoulder surgery. Let me get comfortable. It takes a big person to be able to say, I agree with everything you said, especially when you were talking about them. I'll tell them truth is the truth. But to my surprise, she said, you went in the direction I was hoping you would go in. Say what? And she told me get a pencil and a paper because she wanted to tell me about the steps that she went through in order to resolve her issues with our father. We have never had this conversation before. Look, she talked, I wrote. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. And a lot of this is in scribble and shorthand. If I've got 5 pages here, imagine the work she had to do to get whole. Okay, she said there's 2 parts that you have to do if you want to be whole. First of all, you got to make up your mind that it's time for you to let it go. Time for you to let it go. And then you got to be willing to do the work. You already know you need to let it go. But at a certain point, you have to realize I have spent enough time feeling this way. It's time for me to let it go. For me, she says, that work involved, she paused to say, you have my permission to disclose this. Since I didn't get her permission last time, okay. She said, I went to therapy, not once, but twice. When I left California, went to Maryland, I had to seek professional help. It's good when you can recognize that it's something wrong with you. It's good when you can recognize that you are the problem. It's good when you can recognize I'm the problem and I have the tools to fix this problem. What are the tools, she says? I'm getting ahead of myself. She said therapy allowed her to look at the same situation, but from a different perspective. Because a lot of times that's what it's all about. I've told you that a few days ago. Be willing to look at things from another perspective. Is there more to the story? Is there another way to look at this? Therapy, she says, gave her the tools to cope with anxiety and negative emotions. Anxiety, she describes. Anxiety are unrealistic fears. Anger, she says, is an offshoot of fear. So she had this anxiety, she had the negative emotions, unrealistic fears, and then anger, which was an offshoot of the fears. So you upset about something that don't even exist. It exists one place, and that is in her mind. Don't get angry unless there's, you don't get angry unless, look, y'all, I got these scribbles here. I was writing so fast, so bear with me while I try to decipher it. So this for all the people who need help. She said, you don't get angry unless there's fear. And I asked her to give me a drill down on what she meant because I didn't get it. I said, okay, for example, let's say my husband leaves me and I'm angry about that. She said, okay, if he left you, my question was, what's the fear in that? Because for me, I'm going to be mad. But she said, I'll use a different example. She said, Daddy abandoned us. So for me, she says, my fear went into different layers. I was angry because that's the man Mama chose to be with. She had other options. I looked at our cousins' lives and the way they lived, and I knew we could have had a better life had she made a different choice. It may not have been a better choice, but she could have made a different choice, and we would have had a better life. There we go, making assumptions. Best thing I can say right now, I'll use one of my godchildren as an example. Her mother died when she was age 1. Her father had an addiction. He was in his addiction until she was about age 12. So she had a lot of bitterness. She had a lot of resentment. By the time he went through recovery and he was clean for a couple years, he wanted to come back into their life. But she had bitterness and resentment because she had been abandoned by her father. They had nobody else but him. He made a decision to leave them. Her grandmother asked her a question. What makes you think that your life would have been any better had he raised you? And she couldn't answer that question. She said, no, I want you to think about it. What would be different about your life at this point had he been in your life? And it's the same thing for us. You see how Gail said we can have unrealistic fears? You angry about something that didn't even exist. You mad at your mama because she chose to marry him and had children with him. What makes you think your life would have been any different if she had married Clark? Or if she had married the other McMichael man that Grandma Lula picked out for her? And I don't know which McMichael it was, but Grandma Lula had picked out a McMichael for her. She had picked out a McMichael for my mother's mother, but she ran off and married McKinley Bowie. Now she had probably one of their sons, but Grandma Lula was good at playing matchmaker. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Everybody that she matched, they stayed together. But what would make her think that our lives would have been any better had Mama married another man? What makes you think your life would have been any better had you turned left instead of turning right? Or had you gone forward instead of going backward? Or had you stayed home that day instead of going out? What makes you think that things would have been even better? But she said, I'll get to the abandonment later. Let me keep going with her thoughts. So she said, leaving California and going back to Maryland, going into therapy, helped her learn more about herself. She returned to school. She studied sociology, family structure, and in those courses she learned the whys and the hows of things happening. And when she went into counseling, her counselor had her step back and look at the whole situation, but from different perspectives. And when she looked at them from another view, because the only view she had was that she was the oldest girl. And because she was the oldest girl, she had to take care of everybody. Mama had to go back to school when Mama finally realized this Negro ain't gonna do right. I need to return to school so I can support my own family. And this is where she did the drill down. Same thing she did in therapy. This is what I'm so upset about. As a kid, I had added responsibility. I had to do what he should have been doing. It was his job to be there and be the second parent. And because he was not there being the second parent, I became the second parent. Mama went to school. I had to get up in the morning, cook breakfast for all the kids, make sure we were all out the door on time, take Victor to daycare. We all went to school. On the way home from school, we had to pick up Victor. Victor was 10 years younger than her. Had to pick him up from daycare. Mama left work. Mama hopped on the bus and went straight to Compton College, where she went to school at night. When Mama left home at 7:30 in the morning, she did not come home until 10 o'clock that night. So during the course of the day, we had to take care of ourselves. Gail had to do the cooking. She had to do the laundry. She had to just basically run the household. Counseling, she said, got me to a point where it gave me a do-over. And it let me know that there was still time for me to make a change and enjoy life if I was willing to let go of that baggage. Counseling let me know that I could do what I wanted to do. It let me know that I could focus on doing what I wanted to do, living my best life ever, but it was going to require me letting go of everything that I had been carrying. I had to be free in order to live my best life. You don't experience the ideal life. That's her word. You cannot experience the ideal life when you're carrying burdens, physical burdens and emotional burdens. When you have obligations, when you have fears, you never even know what a peaceful life looks like because you're carrying so much baggage. Then I asked a question. How did you resolve your issues with Daddy? Come back tomorrow. That's where we're going to start. See my note? How did you resolve your issues with Daddy? She gave me the whole page. And everything she's telling me here about resolving issues with Daddy, those are the same steps. If you don't go into therapy, everything she did here is the same thing you're going to have to do to resolve your issues with whoever it was. Hers was that I didn't even know she had an issue with my mama. I thought the whole issue was Daddy. I didn't know she was mad at Mama. Can you see how people going through stuff? That's why I don't mess with people. This is my sister whom I lived with for years. I'm 57 years old. She's 59 going on 60. I never knew that she got some issues with our dead mama. Mama dead and she mad at Mama. Mama been dead since 2004 and she mad at Mama for marrying Daddy. Life according to YoBo. Y'all come back tomorrow because I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to share the tools that she used, okay? Y'all be good. Come back tomorrow for day 252. Bye-bye.